Joining us live from Gainesville, Florida, former FEMA Administrator under President Obama, Craig Fugate. Before that, he served as Florida's Director of Emergency Management. So Craig certainly has a deep understanding of storms and storms in this region. Craig, let's start with 155-mile-an-hour winds. What does that mean to structures in the area? How serious is that for buildings?
Well, unfortunately, this is a very rural, low-income area in many places where we have a lot of manufactured housing and a lot of older mobile homes that aren't even built to current codes. So we would expect a lot of structural damage, but also all the trees coming down. And with US 98 being the primary highway, it's right on the coast. And that got wiped out in Hurricane Dennis in 2005. I imagine there's going to be very little of US 98 that's going to survive this storm.
Craig, you have been involved in Katrina, in Wilma, in Dennis, in Ivan, and again, and you and I talked a lot during Florence. You know, what are you most worried about here? Are you most worried about this remarkably destructive, high-velocity, 155-mile-per-hour winds in some places, where, as you said, we keep talking to people whose houses were built in the 1920s and the 1940s and are not built to current code, or are you worried about the water damage that we're going to see?
Both. This is a total hurricane. The storm surge values here are the highest of anywhere in the state of Florida. Those low-lying areas have yet to see the bulk of the storm surge come in, and then the winds. And actually, the older homes have historically done better. It was the newer construction starting in the mid-60s through the 80s and early 90s that we really saw homes that weren't being built for the hurricanes we faced. Governor Bush signed into law the statewide unified building code, and we started moving in the right direction of making sure our codes reflected our risk. The newer homes do better. Some of the older homes do better, but a lot of people live in those homes in between, and they're going to have a lot of damage.
Hey, Craig, I'm just going to interrupt you. The meteorologist, Bill Gary, I'm just going to interrupt you for 1 second, because while you're talking, our viewers are watching one of our crews in Panama City, what appears to be trying to hold the window in place.
It's unbelievable.
If that crew can hear us and they have anything, get the mattress off the bed and put that against the window. What they're doing is extremely dangerous if that window shatters right in front of their faces like that when they're trying to hold that. So I don't know if they can hear me or not. But,
yeah. Well, we'll get our control room as well, if we can, to get that message to them. If
possible, if we're still in contact with them.
Right, because part of the issue is not just the force of the wind and whether the glass can hold up against it, but it's things that are going to blow.
And if the wind blows, if the wind blows in on that, and that glass is on, is in their faces. So
a small projectile going into a glass like that can break it if it's not hurricane glass. I mean, Craig, one of the things that we've seen since the Katrina days, particularly on the Gulf Coast, have been remarkable improvements in building, in glass, in the way roofs are attached, in the rise that some houses are built on off of sea level. But as you said, a lot of the areas that are getting hit right now are poorer areas or lower income areas where if your house wasn't destroyed, you had no reason to rebuild it.
Right. The other thing is trees are going to be coming down, and none of the codes were prepared for oak trees and pine trees slicing through your roof.
Yep.
So this is still a very dangerous situation. Even with the better codes, it never meant we wouldn't have damages. It just meant we were going to have less damages, and you could probably repair your home versus losing everything. So right now, the focus is on life safety and treating this like a big tornado. Getting low, staying away from windows, outside, exposures. And this is going to be over hours, not minutes like we generally see with isolated tornadoes this area is used to.
Hey, MSNBC fans, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there and click on any of the videos here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. You can get more MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.